All right. Let's see if we are live today. We have a sub-2 deal in Holiday, Florida. All right. Okay. Looks like we're in business. Okay. So today we got this deal in Holiday, Florida, just outside Tampa, I think. Purchase price $274,000. Interest rate 3.87%. Total monthly payment $2,236. Entry fee of $35,647. All right, this is a 3-2 single family, really small, 968 square feet. So there's definitely no room for expanding to a 4-bedroom there. ARV 274 grand, turnkey. All right, so here's how the entry fee breaks down: 25,647. Assignment fee $10,000. The PITI 2236. Supposedly the long-term rental is 2141. We'll check that in a bit. And let's see, 238,353 is the existing loan balance. So I'm gonna show you guys how to just plug that into the calculator. All right. So for this property, the first thing I want to do is look it up on Redfin and get the county. Now that I have the county right here, is in Pasco County. Let's take a quick look at this property. It does look pretty much turnkey. Floor looks great. Yeah, it looks like they recently renovated. So I'm gonna assume that there's not much rehab needed. I might just put aside like a couple grand for landscaping in case there's anything that we cannot see from the photos. And this sold in 2022, so it's 2 years ago. I'll probably leave about like 3 grand again for some touch-up paint, just in case there's anything that needs to be cleaned up and stuff like that. So easy enough. All right, so now that we got the county in Pasco County, we want to look up HUD FMR. And this is for us to look up the rent ceiling to see what the rent ceiling looks like. Now, when you come to HUD's website, you want to click on access to small area FMRs, look up FY 2024 FMRs, click on the state, click on the counties in Pasco County, and then you're going to get the rent ceiling, inclusive utilities usually. This is 34690. 34690, and you can see that the 3-bedroom rent ceiling is going to be right here, 2150. Now, there is a big jump if you were to go from 2150 to a 4-bedroom of a rental of 2620. So if you're in Florida and you see any of those sunrooms, that could be a good consideration, right? This is a pretty big jump. If you can go up almost $500 by adding an extra bedroom, that might be worth the additional investment to convert a sunroom or a Florida room, whatever they call it, into additional bedroom. All right. So now that I got my rent ceiling, sometimes this also includes utilities, but remember, sometimes the more expensive areas, the housing authority might adjust upwards, like 110% of this number or 120% of this number, because of the cost of living in that area. So if you're in Boston, I think I've seen other cities, they might go 110%, 120%, or even higher for veterans. All right. Next thing we want to do is get the market rents. And we're going to go to affordablehousing.com. We'll go to the owner section, go to market rent estimator, plug in the address, plug in the bedroom count. And you're going to see here that the market rent, the number you want to care most about here, is the number on the bottom right, where it says for 25 units within a 0.54 mile radius, the average rent is $1968. Now, when you compare $1968 of the market rent, what we see here, to the rent ceiling of $2150, guess what? There is a test. It's called the rent reasonableness test, which means that you cannot charge more rent to a housing choice voucher holder simply because they're a voucher holder, right? For obvious reasons. Technically, the language might be you cannot charge more rent when compared to an unassisted unit with comparable amenities, property, characteristics, etc. So that's something you want to pay attention to, because if you were to underwrite with 2150, you might think it's almost the same as the PITI, but in reality, you have to use 1968. Let's just call it $2,000 as the rent ceiling. All right. Now, for us having these details now, I mean, you could probably rule out this deal, right? Because when you see that the PITI is 2236, according to them, it's 2141 on Zillow. But in my opinion, I'm going to use 2000 because that's what I see on affordablehousing.com. Just be a little bit more conservative, right? Now, I'll probably stop analyzing the deal at that point. But today, let's kind of walk through the numbers, right? Let's go through the whole thing and really think about why is this not a deal? And why do you rule it out so quickly? So we're going to put in purchase price, $274,000. I'll do the rehab at $3,500. That's fine. I'm going to put the rent at $2,000 based on what we've seen just now with the rent reasonableness test applying in the situation. I'm going to add in my loan details. So let's kind of get this side by side so you guys can see how it breaks down. Here's loan information. $238,353. The interest rate is 3.87%. The start date was probably 30 years ago, so 4/1/2022. Okay, there's no secondary loan. Now, here's what I'm going to do. When I go to the property tax section, I'm going to do equals to this PITI number right here of 2236. I'm going to subtract the sub-2 principal and the sub-2 loans interest portion of the payment from that to get my escrow amount for the remaining property tax number and also the insurance number. The reason I'm doing this is because sometimes you might spend so much time trying to get the exact principal and interest number, but at this point in time, just remember what our goal is. Our goal is to define whether or not this property is worth our time to pursue further, whether or not that means us getting a contractor out there for a better bid, getting someone out there for an inspection, and making sure that what we're buying is truly what we expected and not just what we see in the photos, right? Sometimes the photos are going to present the property in the best light as possible. So if you don't get someone out there, then you might be walking into a trap. Now, when you are working with good talent, great contractor, great team, you don't want to be the guy that is a tire kicker. You don't want to be the person that is completely new and completely waste people's time. You want to be the person that says, hey, I've underwrote this property. We think it makes sense, but now it's time for the next step of due diligence. And that next step might be getting a contractor out there. That next step might be calling the housing authority and asking them, hey, how much do you think this property will rent for? Or how much emphasis or how much more might you pay for a property when it's more new or more recently renovated? These are all the questions that you might want to take into consideration because every housing authority is going to be different. Okay. Now for this property, let's finish walking it out. So I had extra $30 for insurance, I had 10% for maintenance, right? Because every single month you got to put aside some money because that money does not belong to you. Eventually the roof needs to get replaced. The HVAC needs to get replaced. The water heater breaks down. The lawn gets out of control. You have to do all of these steps in order for you to stay consistent. And most importantly, you have to anticipate that these are expenses that are going to come up because most importantly, this money does not belong to you. All right, we got 10% for property management, 5% for vacancy. All right, so let's plug in our numbers. We got $2,150. If you remember our HUD's website, we got $2,150 for a 3-bedroom and then a $2,620 for a 4-bedroom in 34690. Okay, 34690. Now, because this property is only less than 1,000 square feet, there's really no extra room for you to get an additional bedroom, which is why we're not analyzing this deal, assuming that we might add a little bit more money to turn the property into an additional bedroom because there's just no space. All right. So when you compare 2150 to what we saw on market rent on affordablehousing.com of 1968, now you know that this is the scenario you want to go through. And as you can see, let's go through the scenario. Assuming it's a 3-bedroom and you're renting out for $2,000, you will be a negative $766 of cash flow. To get the exact cash and cash return, we can plug in the numbers here, but obviously it's going to be negative, but we can plug it in so you guys can go through the motions of staying consistent for this property. And 25,647 is the cash to seller and the agent with a $10,000 assignment fee. We have a 2.5% closing cost. We're assuming a $3,500 rehab. So that equals a whopping negative 20% return on your money. Okay, negative 20%. So that's why this is not a deal, right? Where do we analyze this property, right? If you are smart and you are trying to avoid burning out, I would look at the PITI. I don't really trust what they list on the marketing package. So I quickly went to look at, one, what my rent ceiling is for a 3-bedroom, and then also what my rent ceiling is a 4-bedroom, because hey, I might be creative and I might be willing to add an extra bedroom if the lift in rent from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom justifies the incremental investment to turn into a 4-bedroom, and also justifies the incremental and time and energy and execution risk, because it's going to cost money, right? And also time. So when I compared the rent ceiling to the affordablehousing.com and saw it was 1968, that's probably where I would have stopped analyzing the deal right then and there. And hopefully that helps, right? So everybody, again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any sort of investments. I'm simply doing the work every single day. And that's why we do this, so that we can lift each other up. We can get better at analyzing deals all together. And that is how we are going to be able to figure out and get better at underwriting deals together. So just remember, all it takes is 18 minutes a day for 365 days a year, and you'll be better at analyzing deals than than 95% of America. And that's what I'm hoping you're able to accomplish. The most important part is being able to recognize when a deal is a deal, and more importantly, when to recognize when something is not a deal, right? What's sort of the most famous investors' principles? It's to not lose money. So that's why we do this together. And all I ask is, if you don't know what to do or where to start, well, you can copy my homework. You can analyze the same deal I analyzed today, looking at the same property using the same spreadsheet. Just DM me on Instagram at investwithkenhe. What's up, Derek? You can analyze the deals, and all of a sudden, you're going to have a YouTube channel full of 210 underwriting examples. Might that make you feel more confident about what you're doing? Might that make your partners feel more confident about what you're doing? Because when the time comes, someone's going to ask you, why do you think this is a deal? And even if you've never had a property before, you can now direct them to your own YouTube channel and say, I know this is not a deal because for the past 210 days, I've been looking at a deal every single day, and here's all the reasons why these are not deals. That's it. It's super simple. I appreciate all of you for being part of the community. Thank you so much for caring about affordable housing, because seriously, without people like all of you, I would have never had the home I grew up in. So I'm so happy. We have Derek _Taylor _subto on the live stream. And if you guys have not met Derek, I just met him this past weekend again in person. He's going to be doing some amazing affordable housing development in Calgary. It's going to be amazing to see the growth of this community, to see the people with the love and a great heart and not willing to do the hard thing to make this come to life. And this has been so inspirational from this past weekend. And Derek, if you're still on the line and you're still on the live, thank you so much, man. I really meant to say again in person and now on the live stream, thank you so much for coming up to me, and thank you so much for giving me an update on your life. Man, it's been amazing. It's been inspirational. And most importantly, it makes everything feel like it's so worth it, man. Thank you so much. It keeps me going. Every once in a while, when you think about stopping or you think about quitting, I get to meet someone amazing like you that keeps me going and makes me feel reinvigorated, most importantly, man. So thank you so much, Derek. Your message meant so much to me, and I'm so glad you came on this live, because I'm going to send you a video message, but I get to say this on the live to you instead right now, because I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you all have an amazing Saturday. I hope you guys get to spend some quality time with your family and friends today, because that's what life is about. And I haven't seen my wife for almost 2 weeks, and I can't wait to spend a day with her. You guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you all again tomorrow for day 211.